Hello, and thank you for attending our presentation today. My name is Michael Munsey. I'm the Vice President of Marketing and Corporate Strategy and Business Development here at Methodics. Today I want to talk to you about IP Lifecycle Management, or what we call IPLM, and our traceable platform for IPLM, Percipient. I'd like to start off talking about the reality of the semiconductor business today and the challenges that semiconductor design teams face in being able to meet schedules and budgets today with the designs that they perform. A recent study showed that only 45% of semiconductor products ever meet their original launch date. Also, more than 60% of them require at least one respin after tape out. Making things worse, only about 60% of all semiconductor design starts ever make it into production. With these failed design starts, these respins, and missing product launch dates, about 40% or more of semiconductor development projects end up exceeding their planned budget at time of release. What this means overall for the success of a product is that if a product is 3 months late, there's a 27% revenue reduction over the lifespan of that product. And if it's 6 months late or more, there's almost a 50% revenue reduction of that product. The Wilson Research Group studied this problem, and they came up with a few trends that they noticed leading to these problems. We all know that with the semiconductor development projects getting larger and larger, it's very difficult with teams to keep up with complexity. It's very difficult for teams to meet their schedules. It becomes exceedingly difficult to be able to figure out what designs can be reused during the whole process. But fundamentally, one of the biggest issues with semiconductor projects being successful was a lack of traceability throughout the whole design project. From the time requirements and specifications are set, through design, through verification, this lack of traceability leads to either changes in specifications that are missed by the design teams, incorrect or incomplete specifications that lead the design teams to produce incorrect designs from the start, and the fact that these architecture teams and these design teams and these verification teams often are siloed, and the communication amongst the different teams leads to the breakdown of these requirements and design parameters being effectively communicated. So fundamentally, traceability was seen as one of the highest reasons that semiconductor projects are either late or require respins during the whole development process. So our vision at Methodics is to address the complexity of these development projects and start to provide solutions that solve these traceability issues within the design and development teams. Today, we're going to focus on our Percipient platform, which is our IP lifecycle management platform that provides traceability needed to be able to get designs done on time and on budget. So let me spend a little bit of time talking about Methodics. We were founded in 2006, and our headquarters is in San Francisco, but we have a worldwide development and support team. We have partnerships with all the EDA vendors, but also with the enterprise software providers, such as Perforce and Oracle and Siemens, JAMA, and Neo4j, because we realize that providing a platform that's going to solve the traceability issues within the semiconductor design teams, we need to not only work within the products that they use to design with, but we also have to be able to interface with solutions that are used for managing projects, managing requirements, managing issue and defect tracking, and be able to create this traceable platform that's able to interface in with these other systems. So let me talk a little bit about Percipient before we get into the technology. So fundamentally, Percipient is our traceability platform for the design and IP ecosystem. It provides a centralized management of projects it provides an up-to-date bill of materials, and it facilitates the design process by treating projects and all aspects of projects as IP. And this allows us to be able to trace these projects through their inception, through design and development, all the way to tape out. The way that we're able to do this is that we're able to federate and centralize a lot of information, and then provide a centralized location for all metadata associated with IP. And I'll talk a little bit more about what that means, federating the data and centralizing IP. But fundamentally, by providing this platform, we're able to expedite the onboarding of designers, of companies that get acquired through the process, and be able to allow organizations to be able to achieve design time savings by fully utilizing all of the assets that they have within their company, and be able to fully utilize the ability to reuse IP and come up with a working IP reuse methodology, and really understand the life cycle of all this IP throughout the whole process. Many of our customers have seen dramatic decreases in development schedules. For one example, one of our customers, the first time they used the platform, saw a 6-week reduction in schedule compared to what their estimates were based on historical development times in the past. So it's through using this platform that our customers are able to realize cost savings and development time savings by making the IP lifecycle management process able to be adopted and utilized throughout our whole company. We have customers from tens of designers already, all the way up to 10,000 designers using this. The platform itself is very performant. It doesn't interfere with the development cycles and the development platforms that engineers use today. And it's very easily adopted with very little overhead within that development process. So let me talk a little bit about Percipient now. So fundamentally, what we're trying to do is to basically federate and centralize all of the design data that exists within a corporation. Often companies work within silos, and it's very difficult to be able to share this information between different groups. And the Percipient platform is able to unlock all this information and fundamentally centralize it within a location in the platform, which ultimately federates the data and allows it to be used throughout the entire organization. So how it does this is it's built up on a stack of technology. At the lowest level is our interface into data management systems. Percipient is a second generation solution in the space. And what I mean by second generation is that we do not supply our own data management system. When the Percipient platform was developed, there were many DM systems already available that have been used by thousands and thousands of customers out there today. So instead of locking our customers into a single data management platform, we sit on top of industry standard platforms like Perforce, Subversion, Git, as well as some custom and proprietary DM systems as well. So this actually allows design teams to not be locked into a single platform. And if an organization is already using a mixture of different data management platforms, the Percipient platform is able to work on top of all those DM systems. The next thing we provide is a workspace management layer. This is where traceability begins. By actually managing the workspaces that the designers work in, we're able to actually start to begin the traceability process to understand the life cycle of the IP, where IP is in its development phase, which IPs are sub-IPs of higher level IPs, and which projects are using which IPs. This is all accomplished by managing the workspaces. Then we add our IPLM layer on top of this. This basically is a release process that IPs go through from the time that they're either acquired or internally developed through the qualification phase to when they're distributed amongst design teams to when they're actually integrated into separate projects. Then we have our meta layer, and this is where we start collecting all of the metadata associated with the design project. Who developed the IP, who's editing the IP, which projects that IP are being used in, what version of that IP, what tools were used, what data management systems were used. This is all collected within the Percipient platform, and this allows us to build out this wealth of metadata within the platform. And then we provide a bill of materials or a bill of information, or some people call it a bill of IP for the entire project. So Percipient becomes this single source of truth for what versions of IP fundamentally go in and make up that project and make up the designs within that project. Then the Percipient platform integrates in with other engineering systems. Our goal here is not to replace engineering systems that are working and have worked for many, many years for companies, but to integrate and be able to start accessing that data as metadata associated with the IP that's being developed. So we integrate in with bug tracking systems, with requirements management systems, with EDA tools and continuous integration systems. So this allows us now to actually link the IP to the requirements, to the issues and defects, to the EDA tools that were used to develop it, and start building out metadata associated with this IP that extends into the other tools. And then we provide an analytic environment that allows us to do very fast searching and querying of database, build out reports about the IP being used, and ultimately start to automate a lot of tasks like documentation and reporting that's typically been done manually through spreadsheets or other means today. So we've talked a lot about IP, and what really is IP? Well, IP is a combination of the design files and the metadata that goes along with those design files. So software, firmware, hardware design files are all stored in their traditional data management systems. But things like dependencies and permissions, hierarchy, properties, usage, all that metadata is stored within the Percipient platform. And it's this combination of the design data and the metadata that makes up what we call an IP. So our IP abstraction model is quite complete and encompasses a lot of different pieces of information. So in our view, IP is everything that enables design. So you have traditional IP like PDKs and libraries, memory models, external IP you may have purchased, of internal IP you may have developed. But also IP is work in progress, whether it's reusing existing components, doing derivatives of those components, or actually creating new components. And IP is also the tools, the configuration files, the scripts that go into the process of creating designs. So this allows us to build out a very large abstraction model that contains all this metadata about the design. So the files themselves, the hierarchy, the parent-child relationships, the permissions on those IP, events that happen as IP goes through its life cycle, the integrations into all these different tools and documentation systems, the ability to have a release management system built off our IP lifecycle methodology that's tied into the creation of versions of IPs, and the ability to run hooks off of the IPLM system that allow for automatic checking and other tasks that need to happen. And then the ability to add labels and properties and attributes to IPs that allow designers and design teams to be able to identify the IP and put meaningful information around it so other people could find it and know which versions to use. And this all leads up into the traceability layer, where we understand the life cycle of that IP and understand where it's being used, the bill of information and the BOM that goes along with it, what workspace it's being used, and how we can communicate to design teams that are using that IP. So fundamentally, the Percipient platform is allowing the federation of all of this design data that's stored within different DM systems, but then aggregating all of the metadata within the platform And so now through a single API and a single front end, that engineers now access all of this information, and all software, all hardware, all firmware are all being tracked now within a single system. And the traceability comes through this metadata information that allows us to trace all the way down to the data that exists in these different data management systems, but as well as the metadata on the usage and information coming from other engineering systems to provide this traceability throughout the whole platform. So by being able to federate this IP, we're able to gain a lot of advantages. So we have the flexibility of combining any set of data, any set of IPs, no matter which data management system they're in, into subsystems of IP and into larger systems of IP. At the same time, providing the traceability throughout that process. Again, who's using it, who developed it, are there any bugs associated with it, what projects are they in, what versions of that IP are used within those projects, which design tools were used, what were the requirements. All of this information provides a traceability layer throughout the whole platform. So now we have a single layer that provides universality to the whole design process. So now software, hardware, firmware IPs are all managed through a common system across different data management systems. So teams could still use the data management systems that they've been using or are comfortable with, but we have a common way of accessing all that data. And then the same API is used to integrate the IP and design usage information across the DMs and all the other engineering systems, which allows us to have many different role-based workflows throughout the process. So we have IP governance flows, which manage the access management, the compliance approvals, the security information on the platform. We have IP creators and IP consumers using the platform, as well as IP reviewers. So all these different workflows work across the Percipient platform, and users are able to customize their environment and what they need to do within the platform based on the roles that they are performing. And it also allows us to aggregate all this information and actually provide a corporate web IP catalog for the entire organization. So it allows users very easy to find IP, find the versions of IP that they need to use. It allows managers and reviewers to actually track where IP is being used and what state the IP is in and what projects are dependent on certain IP. And it allows all of this information to be viewable with access controls and permissions and visibility based on geolocations, so that protections to the IP are all accounted for within this corporate platform. Now, this seems to be a lot of information, but the idea here is the Percipient platform is designed to not impact customers' use models. There's really 3 touch points. Workspace management, as I mentioned before, which is by us controlling the workspaces, we begin this traceability process. Then we ask them to release the IPs through our system using our IPLM methodology. And then finally, we provide the single source of truth in rolling up all the IPs used in any project within the bill of materials. So fundamentally, the methodologies and the use models of the tools that our customers have used before don't change. So the Percipient platform fundamentally requires very little change to an existing design methodology to provide this level of traceability. Now this platform also is extensible, and a lot of our customers use different solutions we provide on top of this platform because of the traceability that it's able to provide. So we have solutions around functional safety. So if you're doing automotive design or you're doing aerospace designs or medical designs that have strong functional safety requirements, we have a suite of tools that are built off the traceable platform that allow for the automation of requirements tracing through the design and verification process, evidence tracing that those requirements have been met, and automation around the creation of documents and functional safety manuals that need to be associated with that functional safety process. We provide an IP security layer, whether it be IP fingerprinting, geofencing, or blockchain support for the secure delivery and the secure sharing of IP across organizations and across design teams. We provide solutions around verification traceability, which is extending the platform into the verification domain. As I mentioned before in functional safety, we provide documentation solutions that allow our customers to automate the documentation storage and also automate the creation of documentation based off of this rich metadata information that we have. We have unified bill of materials solutions, so we could tie software IP together with hardware IP and have a total system level bill of information, or BOM, built across software, firmware, and hardware, which ties in with our embedded software solutions. We have analytic solutions that I've talked about before. We have planning BOM solutions, which basically allow designers to go in and actually create new designs through a catalog of IP and then start off the whole scheduling and development process through the planning of the design within our system. We have solutions that integrate with product lifecycle management solutions that are out there today. And we also have specific solutions for analog design data management that fit within the platform. So we're able to provide these solutions on top of our traceable platform, because the key thing here is by collecting all of this metadata and having the traceability across the lifecycle of IP, we're able to deliver all these different solutions to our customers. And that customer list is quite large, and it's growing constantly. And again, as I mentioned before, we have users all the way from the tens of users all the way up to tens of thousands of users using the platform. So just to summarize, I want to just review what a typical deployment model looks like within our customer base. As I mentioned before, there's the IP governance model, where you're able to set up the access and the compliance approvals for all IP. And then you have IP creators and consumers using the Percipient platform together, and then automating the launch and acceptance tests, the release process, the notifications through our events platform, the creation of collateral, the creation of BOMs and bill of informations within organizations, and also the ability to deliver IP to external customers and be able to export information into other cataloging systems and export information into other enterprise systems as well. So the Percipient platform provides basically that single source of truth, that single source of information of the IP lifecycle management process and all of the metadata associated with the IP. And this is a typical use model that our customers are using. So I want to thank you for spending some time with us and letting us present our Percipient platform to you. We have a team available if you want to actually see a demo of the solutions. If you want to find out more information available, you can reach out to us through the platform. And we look forward to being able to answer any questions that you may have.